Hey everybody, new day, new version. I've just released 25.3.4. This fixes rhythm editor MIDI import issues when your MIDI file either doesn't have any note off events, it's just got note on events, or if your MIDI doesn't contain anything on channel 10. So by default, I'll scan looking for channel 10, which is default rhythm channel, and I'll bring in all the notes from channel 10. Now what I'll do is if I don't get any notes on channel 10, I'll say, okay, fuck it. Maybe there's some other channels I need to look at. So I'll then pull in the first channel that contains valid notes, and that will then become your rhythm channel. So it allows you to have MIDI files on like channel 1 or whatever, depending on how you're doing your exports. So that should help. And the whole note off thing, that's kind of sorted as well. Um, while I was in doing that, sorry, WhatsApp messages, I'll just close that. While I was in fixing that stuff, I saw a post on the group um, where someone was getting confused about the whole things are controlled by the system as opposed to things are controlled by the actual memories. Uh, it was something that I was always going to change and decided to get off my arse and basically do it. So now anything that's controlled by the system, when you see it in your memory editor, if you change it, you're actually going to change the system value, um, which is going to make a lot more sense, I think. It will stop people getting confused because I seem to be answering the same question all the time. Is it set to system or is it set to memory? Um, so let's have a look at that. So if I come in here, I'm already connected. So if I go to memory editor and I go to output, you know, when I hover over this, it says, this value is currently controlled at system level, which is cool. If I come in here and I was to say switch off the stereo link on main, that then says that your system values have changed. And if I was to go to another memory, you can see that this value here is reflecting what's in the system. So it's no longer reflecting what the value might be in the memory. It's saying, well, it's controlled by the system. I'm going to show you the system value. I think that's more what people would expect. Um, I'll put it back so I don't screw this up. So here it's flagging the system value has been changed. So now if I was to exit out here and quit, it will say, oh, you've got a dirty file in there because it picks up the system file. Do I want to save it prior to exiting? So that's quite good. And do you want to quit? I'll say, no, I don't want to quit. So that's something new that I've added. That check. Let's think. Another thing is, while I was in here fixing that stuff, I was going through all of these kind of routing settings, and someone a while ago said, "Look, this is a pain in the ass the way that Boss have laid this out. Um, you know, is there any way you could change how we actually set the routing?" Um, and I did agree with it, but I just never get around to doing it. Well, now I kind of have. Uh, you now have this button up here, which is your route map. So it's a little kind of route icon on there. It's your route map. If I press that, up comes my route map. This is my track routing, track 1 to track 6, main, sub 1, sub 2, phones. And this is my input routing, mic 1, mic 2, instrument 1, instrument 2, and rhythm. And if I was to change this here, it would basically change it in the actual system itself, which is cool. So you can see these things here changed because I changed them in the route map. What else? What else? What else? What else? So if I was to go to setup and I was to switch off the stereo links on my output, and I was also to switch off the stereo links on my inputs. If I now go into this, you can see I get the main left, main right, sub 1 left, sub 2 left, right, phones, and then here I've got the instrument left and right. showing up in here as well. Um, so that's going to make it a damn sight easier, I think, for you guys to set that stuff. What else is in there? What else have I done? I've done some various little tweaks just to help trap any errors when they come up. There's some guys that I'm chatting to that have got some issues with the rhythm editor, and we're trying to work out where it's crashing for them. And it's been a bit of a pain, so I've upped the error trapping in there to try and catch it. But the main things in this release is the MIDI file import now handles different types of MIDI files. And you've got the route map, which allows you to quickly set your routing of your inputs and your outputs. And now the system values, so values that are controlled by the system, where you have this little Venn diagram icon next to them. When you change them now in the memory editor, you're actually changing the system value. So if you don't save your system file, you're going to lose those changes. So if I go into system editor, I would press save here to actually save those. System values have changed. You need to save them. So just be aware you need to do that. That's it really. Enjoy 25.3.4. Catch you later, dudes. Bye-bye.